me. So welcome to our final session, our emerging practices now and in the future. Yesterday we heard from Experience Programs talking about how they've developed and scaled. Today we thought we wanted to bring it home, looking at a school district and a CBO telling us about how they are implementing transitional services, transitional programs, integrated education in their programs. So today we're very happy to have with us Kathy Lee from the Lawrence Education Center in Springfield and Tina Raymond Carter from A Safe Haven. We're going to start with Kathy. So Kathy, take it away.
Hello, welcome. Thank you so much. Just a little bit about myself. I'm Kathy Lee. I'm the principal over at Lawrence Education Center. We are a school district program that, as you can see on our slide, provides the equivalency exam preparation, and we use the GED, and we also offer an adult diploma program. So we're unique in that regards. At this time, we are in a remote setting, but we do consider ourselves as a modified remote as kids come in and do testing in person within our building. So we just wanted to be able to provide those opportunities to develop relationships as we have newly dropped out students and very young students that are attending. 16 to 24 is the majority of our population, though we do have older individuals that have been coming since COVID has started. So you can go ahead to slide 2, next one. In our bridge programming and what we offer, we start out with the students enroll in one of the 2 programs. And as a requirement for any of our bridge or anything that we do, we offer an Education to Careers Academy. And this is where students learn foundational skills for workplace skills so that they can kind of figure out what they want to do. Within this Education to Careers, they earn a CPR certificate. They also earn a food handler certificate and of course become Illinois WorkNet Readiness Assessment and are able to then get on that Illinois WorkNet site. And that helps in career exploration and to help set their goals. We also have within the academy a social emotional component. The district has bought us a curriculum and it's called School Connect Curriculum. And we offer it so that students can feel a cohort of group of students that they can work together and work through the problems that they encounter, as our students are always facing challenges. So we want them to learn out of the academy that they're the best candidate for the employment or any opportunity that might meet their needs. And so they're the best candidate. Okay, next slide. Also part of our prerequisites is a class called Mastering Digital Literacy. And what's really neat about this is a free curriculum offered through Microsoft. They end up getting certificates, but the skills they learn are very basic. Communication online, creating a digital content, accessing information safely and responsibly. And they earn a certificate through each of the modules that they go through. So this is also a prerequisite for any of our bridge programming. And of course, anything with digital literacy is important, especially during the time period now, because all of our classes are remote and mostly use digital curriculum. Okay, next one. So we offer 4 different types of programs. So our first one is our Prebridge program, and we partner with a CBO here in town called Fishes and Loaves, and they provide a Smart Moves curriculum. They bring that to our students, and it leads to a personal care attendance certificate. They start with this because it really is about healthcare awareness. And then they can determine whether healthcare is really what they want to go into, if they want to go into CNA or any kind of healthcare. So this is a starting point, and they earn a certificate with that. And then any student that is ready to go into the next step and is prepared to do whatever is next will then be referred to the CNA program, which Fishes and Loaves then provides at their center. So next slide. We also offer a hospitality bridge in our area. We work closely with our WIOA program and our WorkNet Center, and this is one of the pathways that is important in our area because we're in Springfield and we have lots and lots of places for retail and catering and those kind of things. So before COVID, of course, we had all the hotels offering catering and whatnot. So we're very selective now in how we go about doing our next steps. But this program really is contextualized. A teacher supports the student through a computerized curriculum, a digitalized curriculum. And then once they finish, they earn a certificate. And then they go directly into an internship and work at our local restaurant and grocery store called Hy-Vee. And so they support our individuals in the hospitality. If they found that this is a great way of a pathway, then they really go into the food protection manager certificate, and our staff are trained to be a proctor and an instructor in this course. And they earn then the Illinois Department of Public Health's approved certificate. And then they can go anywhere, perhaps be a cafeteria manager or work in a place that will provide that next step as a career pathway. Okay, next one. One of our first bridges that we developed was the informational technology bridge. And we also offer this contextualized within our program. Students work through a curriculum that we have developed with partnership with another community college. Mr. Dan Deasy and Bevan helped us to do our next steps with this program. And really, it really goes down deep into the technology field. We're very happy with this way of doing business, but it also goes into hardware, software development. It can go into game development, software tools, the management, mobile apps, and that kind of thing. Then the next step, once they complete this program and get a certificate, then they go and work with one of our community partners called Computer Bank. And they do the next step, which is the Technology Workforce Preparation Program. And in this program, it's really hands-on at the Computer Bank site. They take apart a computer, they put it back together, and that will end up being theirs as their final. They get to keep that computer. And then they also do an internship at Computer Bank to support their learning and to help Computer Bank with all the needs that they need at their site. Continue. Then our newest bridge is called the Construction Prebridge, and we were able to develop a partnership with the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, the IBEW, here in town. And so we were able to hire one of their internships, their apprenticeships going through. And so we hired that person to come in and teach our kids the OSHA 10 and work through the OSHA 10 certification. And then we also had him work through doing conduit work and hands-on and really talking through what an electrical worker would need to be doing as they have an internship. And we've also improved this, and now we're working with the other local trades in the area, the Painters Union and HVAC and bricklayers. We're establishing relationships with them because the OSHA 10 is really one thing that they do look at as a starting place. So then what they do is they finish that and they go into an internship, and they have hours that they work with a local trades and then learn the skills of the electrical trades. So Okay, any questions you might have that I could answer? Yay.
All right, thank you very much, Kathy. Very interesting. I'm going
Thank you
to
so much for asking me.
love all your partnerships that you have.
Mhm.
All right, we're going to turn it over to Tina Raymond Carter to tell us about a safe haven and what they have going on.
Yes, hello, good people. Thank you so much, Transitions Academy, for this opportunity. I'm Tina Raymond Carter with a Safe Haven, and I have the distinct honor of serving as their Director of Education. So we're just gonna dive right on in, talking about our emergent practices now and in the future. And what I would like to do is to, oh, I'm not sure. Are you sure? What I would like to do is to tell you guys about what we had to do to start our to start our bridge programs. And I would like to tell you that by sharing our story. Yes, that's good. Thank you. And by highlighting the following agenda items. So what do we do well? Identifying existing resources, discovering and uncovering needed resources, designing and implementing a true bridge, using the social economic climate to your advantage and outcomes. Next slide, please. So just briefly, if you don't get anything else out of this conversation, this discussion, I'm hoping that you will be able to do two things: identify and name what your organization does well. What do you all do to knock it out of the park every time? And regardless of your audience, always be able to answer how your students and possibly other stakeholders benefit from your Innovation Bridge program. Next slide, please. A Safe Haven does well in helping low-income, marginalized groups of people who are homeless or in a crisis get back on their feet socially, economically. And we do this by providing safe and affordable housing, support services, and through partnerships. But what does A Safe Haven's adult education program do well? I'm glad you asked. In a short period of time, we prepare these same individuals to obtain and maintain employment. Our aim is for them to gain employment that yields or will yield family sustaining wages. And one way we do this is through our bridge programs. Next slide, please. So just real quickly, understanding the agenda items a little deeper. What am I talking about when I say identify existing resources? Well, in creating or redesigning your bridge, identify what you already have at hand. What do you have access to? What will address the needs and the desired outcomes of your students? And of course, anything that you do as far as developing a bridge program, yes, the labor market information counts. However, you have to know what your students want. You have to know what type of sector they want to go into. Discovering and uncovering needed resources. Well, you could do this through literature, research, understanding the practices of other agencies, and whatever it is that you don't have, you recognize it and you find ways to go and get it. Designing a true bridge. And what I mean by this is that at the very least, your bridge should meet the standards of ICCB, and their standards are pretty high. And for a long time, I said, oh, we have a bridge program, but we wasn't necessarily there yet. This was about 5 years ago. We wasn't necessarily there yet. But to have a true bridge program, you want to make sure that you have all of the components, contextualized instruction, contextualized curriculum. You want to make sure that you're doing at least career exploration, as well as providing an array of transition services. And those transition services differ for each organization, differ for each community college, because it's usually based on the needs of your students. Social and economic climate. What do I mean by this? Be ready to shift or even pivot. Sometimes there's a phenomenon that happens in our world that helps you to implement a component of your bridge program that you could not beforehand, but now you can, and it helps your students to win. And what I mean by win is that it helps them to win socially and economically. So we know that we are in two pandemics, if you will. We are in we are experiencing social unrest, and then of course we have COVID-19. However, there are different types of fundings that are funding opportunities that are becoming available because you have certain agencies, certain private donors, certain foundations who want to right the social wrong. And for us, we have the opportunity just recently to get connected with a foundation to help provide childcare stipends. And you may say, well, it's always been an issue for us. Childcare has always been an issue for our students. Yeah, childcare has always been an issue for our students, but now we're dealing with social unrest. Now we're dealing with the pandemic, and people can't work. And so we have women who want to complete bridge programs or our bridge programs, but they don't have the necessary co-payments or the necessary funds to put their children in daycare. And so because of what's happening globally in our world, we were able to connect with a foundation to help us to provide childcare, to help us to provide stipends to the parents who want to get their children in childcare and enroll and finish up our bridge programs. So your outcomes, what is your aim? Well, our aim here at A Safe Haven is to always help our students win. And you're going to continue to hear me say that. We want them to win socially and economically. So I'm always prepared to share the latter statement with my audience as well as illustrate the benefit. Next slide, please. Looking further, A Safe Haven existing resources. So when designing our bridge program, I had to determine, what do we already have? What do I have in my presence, of what do I already have access to? Well, we already had an education department. We had a workforce development department. We had on-site vocational trainings. However, we operated in silos. We did have partnerships with employers. So my goal was to intentionally integrate the above department's key activities in relation to the ICAPS Model 2 so that we can implement a true bridge. How did I do this? I knew what the benefits were. I was always able and always willing to articulate the benefits. Sometimes when you do your research, when you talk to others in the field about establishing a bridge program or even scaling a bridge program, you may not have everything that you need to either start or to even scale, but you go get it. And so one of the issues that we had here at A Safe Haven was that I had to shift the culture. Culturally, A Safe Haven Foundation, we needed to understand the why bridge? And on top of that, we needed funding. So my goal always was to answer the why, regardless of who was asking, and get the support. And I did that by reviewing literature. I did that by research. I asked a whole lot of questions. I even read parts, like some of you read parts of WIOA. I attended trainings and conferences. I not knocked down, but I called on Ms. Bevan and Ms. Sarah. I asked ICCB a ton of questions, and I listened to my adult ed counterparts in the community colleges, as well as those who were doing bridge programs in the CBO. So I really listened and I really asked questions, and I had to also learn the labor market information from my region. And so once I got all of that stuff together, I still had to shift the culture here at A Safe Haven. And so then my question began to my internal colleagues and my executives was, basically, why not? Why not bridge? And I had to show them the benefit of it. So we piloted a couple of bridge programs, and we re-recorded the outcomes. And being innovative during a time of social unrest and pandemic. A Safe Haven serves mostly people of color who are undereducated, underskilled, resource and poor, but who are talented and committed. And they want and they need to work. So the goal was to meet their immediate needs to meet the immediate needs of the students and especially the outcomes of the grants. I did this by addressing inequities with funders. I used the funding appropriately. We were able to create pathways for students to win through our innovation bridge, as well as the transition services. We make sure that the transition services help to close the gaps that some of our families, some of our individuals are experiencing, so that they can complete the bridge program, so they can get into employment, so they can stop basically being homeless. Next slide, please. So some of our innovation bridge programs are here. We have the security program, we have the culinary, we have welding, and we've always had welding, but welding is going to be new under bridge. So we're going to get a chance to co-design and co-plan Well, the goal is for the CTE instructor as well as the adult educator to co-design together, co-plan and co-teach. Another program that came out of the pandemic is custodial engineering. And there's going to be, and there is a huge need for individuals to know how to clean and sanitize large facilities frequently, even more so because of the pandemic. One of the things that I suggest to anybody is that you learn about braided funding, including braided funding that address the social inequities of our students. WIOA does this. WIOA funding does this. ITA funding does this. You can find some state funding, local and private funding. Like I said earlier, some of the ways that we're addressing inequities is to empower our women by equipping them with the child care stipends that they need to get their children into childcare so that they can complete the bridge programs, so they can earn family sustaining wages. And then you also want to form and sustain partnerships. And you do that with agencies, non-for-profits, governmental agencies, corporations, institutions, employers, your AJC, so on and so on and so on. And so just real quickly, things to remember as we innovate, it's always about the students. Identify what you have, go get what you don't have to start or to scale, and be aware and be prepared to shift. I'm sorry, I put two words together, to shift and pivot. Please let me know if you have any questions, and thank you again for the opportunity. And thank you so much. Next slide. And thank you so much for the help that you guys are doing and what you're doing to help our students win.
Thank you, Tina. And I love your new word. It could get us in trouble, but I might use that, the shift.
Oh, shivit. Oh, yeah.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, that's our new word, shivit.
Thank you, guys.
Shift and pivot, baby. Shift and pivot.
Yes.
You know, we're always innovating here at the Transitions Academy. Remember that you heard it here first from Tina Raymond Carter. I'm going to turn it over to Bevan. I'm going to mute myself and she's going to take us home.
Okay.
Hello, y'all. I wanted to wrap this up by talking about our mentoring for ICAPS and Bridges just for a moment, about what makes a good mentor. We do have mentors that are in existing ICAPS and Bridge programs that are happy to be mentors for those of you that are in the developing stages of either Bridges or ICAPS. And what makes a good mentor is that they listen, they guide, they're practical, they educate, they provide insight, they're accessible, supportive, they care, and they're admirable, okay? And so I was listening to Tina and Kathy Lee, and it's like, it may be that they would consider being a mentor to some individuals within CBOs or school districts. For Bridges and ICAPS mentor guidelines, you need to make contact within 2 weeks, offer to share materials, share information on data collection, invite your mentee to visit and tour your program. And we know that's not possible physically now, but they might be able to actually sit in on a Zoom class, and share lessons learned, and then make contact via phone or email at least once a month to kind of see where you're at. And for the mentees, you also have some guidelines that you need to help make contact with your mentors within 2 weeks, and then attempt to visit their program either virtually or however, and then also seek advice from other programs. We have a large number of programs for ICAPS that are listed on the ICAPS website. So if you were wanting, what we try to do is match you up with the career pathway that you're in, or the size of your program, or even the fact that you may be a CBO or a school district, and try to hook you up with someone that actually is in the same type of program that you're in. So that being said, we will assign mentors after the Transitions Academy. If you are interested in getting a mentor, please send me an email. If you are interested in being a mentor, I have some, but I could always use more. So please send me an email, and I'd be happy to then, I will tweak everything and hook everyone up with a mentor and mentees. So we have some resources and professional development opportunities. We have the mentors that we use for the Transitions Academy. We have the ICAPS website. We have the webinar series. And then following this, starting around in November, end of November, we are going to be starting Bridge and ICAPS learning communities, wherein you all can get together and kind of discuss issues that come up or situations that come up, or learn from each other in those learning communities, as opposed to us presenting something. All of the Transitions Academy sessions will be recorded and available for you, and Amy will talk to you about that. If there are any questions, please feel free to email me. And I think we're going to wrap this up and be done by noon. And so we want to thank you for attending this fall convening of the Transitions Academy, and certainly hope that you have found it to be informative, as well as a little bit of fun sometimes, as your programs either begin to develop or scale up your Bridges and ICAPS programs. And Amy, I'll let you express Kathy and Whitney's thanks, and I'll let you also share. So
thank you, Bevan. Just want to thank everyone for attending. I want to thank you all for your participation. This has been a really engaging and fun day and a half. I also want to send my thanks from ICCB, both the career and technical education area and adult education. Kathy and Whitney were not able to be on our last session with us, but they were so excited about how well this has gone and how engaged you all have been. So thank you for that. You should have an evaluation in your inbox right now. If you want to check your email, you can take a second to do that. And we do encourage you to please fill out that evaluation. You'll also have a link to all the resources. So that same page that you came on to access all of this information, you'll be able to come back to that same page, give us a day or so, and we'll get all the recordings and handouts and everything like that up. Your handout should be there. The presentation should be there. The recordings take a little bit to render. And we will also be making sure those are closed captioned for those of you who are asking that question. With that, I want to just thank you all for your time. Have a great Friday. It's a beautiful day in Illinois, and we don't get it this warm in November very often. So get out there, have a wonderful afternoon, and we look forward to seeing you through the learning communities.
bye, y'all.
Bye, everyone.